All right, good morning. Let's get to the meat and the potatoes. Plays for the week. We're starting off with Pinterest. Pinterest $38 calls for March 21st of next year. Next is going to be Peloton. Peloton $10 calls for April 17th. Next will be Xpeng. $25 calls for the 21st of February. Hood, we have two of them. Our first one is going to be $45 calls for February 21st, and our second one is going to be $37 calls for December 20th. Now, if you've been following me, you are probably already in this December 20th, but we'll say that you're up a good amount of profit. Feel free to sell those 20th calls and enter in on those February 21st calls. Next, we have Roadblocks. Roadblocks is going to be $75 September calls for next year. Next, we have Bank of America. Bank of America $45 puts for February 21st. Next, we have Snap. Snap $11 January 17th calls. Next, we have Zoom. $100 calls for December 27th. Next, we have Snowflake. Snowflake's going to be 185 calls for December 6th. So these are going to expire next week. Next, we have Ford. Ford is $13 calls for June 20th of next year. Next, we have Clean Strike. Clean Strike is $19 calls for December 13th. Next, we have Reddit. $160 calls for December 6th. So these are also expiring next week. Those ones are a little bit more riskier. Those next week contracts are definitely a little bit more riskier. Next, we have MU 104 calls for December 6th, another weekly. Next, Amazon 212.50 calls for next week. Next, we have NVIDIA. NVIDIA 180 calls for December 20th. I know that is like $50 out the money, but they did beat earnings. They did already give out their dividend. They're not looking for any more earnings until next year. So with good earnings, it didn't really move with the news of earnings. So I think that this is overall going to be a nice play. Definitely one that's going to take some time to develop. Last but not least, we have Roku. We are looking at Roku $74 calls for December 20th. Overall, these plays, you have a lot of time on these plays. Like I said, if you are already been subscribed and watching my videos and then placed in some of these trades, the way to do it is if you are in the ones that have the earlier strike prices and you're looking to make more money on the other ones, sell the earlier strike price and then re-enter in on the longer strike prices, because it's just a rinse and repeat situation for the contract. If it's already going up and it's in your direction and it's making money, you would just get a longer time contract and get rid of the smaller contract. All right. So let's run through these again. We have Pinterest calls. We have Peloton calls. We have Xpeng calls. We have Hood calls. We have Roadblocks calls. We have Bank of America. Puts. We have Snap. Calls. We have Zoom. Calls. We have Snowflake. Calls. We have Ford. Calls. We have Clean Strike. Calls. We have Reddit. Calls. MU. Calls. Amazon. Calls. NVIDIA. Calls. And Roku. Calls. So these are my plays setups for the week. And obviously these are not all of them are weeklies, but this gives them some time to develop with how the week and pretty much the month of November has been panning out. These are all setting up in the uptrend, except for Bank of America is showing signs of weakness and to the downside. So like always, like, share, subscribe, of course. Make that money. If you are making money with these videos, please write it in the comments and let me know. It would be nice to hear from you guys to know what you're making on these plays. If you're losing, let me know. Maybe if I'm losing on these plays, then therefore I need to chart better. So I won't really know if I don't get any feedback. All right. So good luck, everybody, for this upcoming week, and let's make some money.